Hello, everybody out in YouTube land. Welcome to Vintage Rescue Squad. You guys, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Of course, we appreciate it. We are very excited. We get to welcome back two wonderful ladies within the community. We get to welcome back Katie and Cyndi. Of course, we're going to let them officially introduce themselves in just a moment. You guys, I do want to make sure that you are aware down below, and please, because I'm telling you what, there were a lot of links this week. There were a lot of links this week. I put everybody's links, I put all of the links are down below in the description of the video. You're going to find YouTube pages, Instagram pages, you're going to find eBay links, you're going to find whatnot links. Cyndi has got another channel that is linked down below. You guys, if you're not already subscribed or following anybody on the screen, like I said, I made it super easy for you. You just have to click that blue link. It is completely free, and it's a great way to show some support to some really hard-working people. So give them some love, engage in the content. It's free. It's a little bit of encouragement, and it really does go a long way, you guys. Now, before we get into tonight's chat, I do want to give some special shout outs. The first comment, my goodness, the first comment is Mr. Rob Hawkins.
Rob,
how you doing, Rob?
Mom.
Oh, look, Anne is up in the chat. How's it going? And Judy, hello. Ruthie B, how you doing out there, lady? We got Gina Hawk's Nest. Are you related to Rob? No, I'm just, I don't know. We got Powdered Donut. How are you doing? And Karen, we've got Miss Catherine Young in the chat. How are you doing? She's a gal who's in the desert and she's curious. How you doing out there? Pammy Whammy lady. We got Enamor. Amy is in the chat. Hello.
Hey.
Kelly Girls out in Texas. How you doing? Hello. 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 Anybody out there?
Humpty Dance, here's your chance to do the hump. We love that, LaDonna. Her
Humpty. I do the Humpty Hump. Hello there. Oh, did you see I love that squeaker. Hello, Miss Coleman. Hello, Susan Jackson. Hello, Rose and Jeannie. Shelby, how are you all doing? Sarah Lee, thank you for joining. I know it's been a while. Hello, Kathy. Ooh, hey, Tiger, how are you doing out there? All right, Trina is with us, you guys. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to scroll down here. I apologize to anybody that I'm missing. Our very own pyromaniac man is with us. How are you doing, Sherry and Jan?
Looks like a syllabus.
What?
Your description looked like a syllabus.
Doesn't it, though? Yes. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I tried to keep it neat and organized. All of the little arrows are there for you. I think that it helps visually, to kind of help you out. Hey, Will, how are you doing tonight? And Glowy, good evening. Shelly, and we've got Fabian is back with us. Hello, guys. Thank you so much again for joining us. We do appreciate it. Again, it is a great honor to be able to get up here and to do this weekly. And the fact that we get to have new people with us every week or returning folks with us, it is a great honor. And it really, truly is a pleasure. And all of us are able to do that because of all of your love, all of the support. And again, in the many ways in which that you choose to demonstrate that, we do appreciate it. There is no such thing as too little support. It all adds up into a great thing. And this is a wonderful community. You guys, thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of it, really and truly. Now, I do want to encourage you guys, just because we happen to be the ones that are up here on the screen, please don't forget that this is a group conversation. You guys are invited to participate and encouraged to participate in this conversation. If you have questions, if you have comments, hello, Lorianne, how are you doing? Hey, Angel and Mary and Nancy. If you do have questions or comments, please put them in capitals. I am notoriously bad at getting back up on them, but we will try to get through as many as possible. Again, this conversation, it's a two-way street. You got something to say? Come on with it. We invite you to do that. We want you to do that. We appreciate you lurking out there, but if there's any night to come out of lurking, it's Vintage Rescue Squad.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. So again, thank you guys so much. And let's go ahead and let's take a time to get to know everybody. We're going to officially introduce ourselves, and then let's get into the tea. Katie, you want to start it off?
Sure.
Hit it,
Welcome,
sister.
folks. I'm so glad all of you are joining us tonight. It's going to be a fun party with lots of chat and a lot of fun. I'm Katie from Vintage and Vinyl. If you don't know me, I talk vintage and vinyl on my YouTube channel, Vintage and Vinyl, every week. And I just got back from the world's longest yard sale with Cyndi and Pam and Ariana and some wonderful friends. And so I've got some great content on my channel right now from my yard sailing trip, which is so much fun. And I also do vintage live sales, and I've been selling a little bit on Whatnot, just dipping my toes into that water, which has been a lot of fun. So I'm excited to continue that journey and to share it all with you. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
Cyndi lady, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Oh, we had so much fun on that world's longest yard sale. It was unbelievable. I had so much fun when I was editing videos, going back through that, Katie. What a blast. So I'm sitting with Cottage. Of course, I also love vintage. I do shop along calls. I go to a lot of estate sales, antique stores, rummage sales, flea markets, that sort of thing. So you'll find a lot of that on my channel. I also, as Michael mentioned earlier, I have a second channel because I'm also a mixed media artist. And so my residence, if you will, this is my home where I live. Is at my studio. Yeah, it feels like that. Is at my studio, which is in Hudson, Ohio, and it kind of does double duty as a little pop-up shop and an art studio. So my second channel is all about mixed media art, and it's usually vlog format. Although I will tell you that since the world's longest yard sale happened, I've been playing catch up like crazy. So I've only gotten a few videos here and there over there. But
it's a lot to catch up on.
Oh my God, I've been so busy. Since April, I haven't done a whole lot of creating, which kind of makes me sad because just, I mean, you guys know it's yard sale season, it's flea market season, so it's just been going. So, and I also do live sales on my channel, and I have a regular live sale every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
You can find me there.
And Cyndi if you love kitsch, Cyndi finds a lot of really, really cool kitsch on her live sales. So make sure that you're subscribed and you go to those sales. She finds amazing kitsch.
She's got an eye. That's for sure.
Like all the same things that Misty does most of the time.
Yeah, we like a lot of the same things.
I get that.
We like a lot of the same things. And I think that's a really good thing to bring up is, well, she's saying, she went on this big, long, trip, did the yard sales, and then just kind of playing catch up. When you get back and you're like, okay, now I got to catch up. And I think that it's a lot of people don't necessarily, if you don't create content on YouTube and that's not and it's not part of your business, it really does add a lot of, I don't say pressure, but it does add a lot of pressure to be able to try to keep up with a certain schedule every single week. When you have like art that you want to create, and you have a pop-up shop that you want to do, and you have a family at home, and you've got a house that you have to do laundry, and you have to clean, and you have to, cook and keep up that kind of stuff too. So I think that it does kind of play with that whole dichotomy of, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and they all kind of meld in together. But it's a lot, you're being pulled in a lot of different directions, I think. And it could stress you out.
I agree. Finding all the footage from the yard sale has been interesting because I tried out my GoPro for the first time on the yard sale. I strapped it to my head.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I walked around with the thing. Yes. People were like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh,
you should just went Mimi, like you were an alien from outer space.
You should have said Omotomogato.
You went under the radar a lot of the time, though, Katie, because people noticed me with my camera before they noticed that you had a camera on your head.
That's true. That's true. A lot of people noticed Cyndi's phone, but I had, video that was on my phone and on my GoPro. I didn't bring my big DSLR because that would just be too cumbersome in the heat in the fields. But the GoPro was fun. But then, figuring out, okay, well, where did I put that clip? Did I film the intro on my phone because it had a closer, tighter shot than my GoPro? And then, so I've still got so much content to sift through, but it's kind of fun to go back because then you look at stuff and you're like, darn, I didn't pick that up. Why did I leave that there?
So frustrating. So frustrating.
Well, and sometimes though too, I think we've all gotten people commenting, why didn't you buy this? Why didn't you buy that? Why didn't you? And sometimes we don't show we can't possibly. Yeah, Nan, maybe there was a big chip on it. And so we didn't really notice it. Didn't really, like I passed up on things too that I might have looked at before I, pushed record. And I knew I wasn't going to bring it up in the video because it was badly damaged, or sometimes you're just not in the mood to buy certain, or you're just like, I'm not shipping that. I have a lot of Tanala. I'm not going to buy that right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of other things that go into why you didn't buy something, but you do when you're editing, you're like, dummy, why didn't you see that? But you're shopping with one hand behind your back.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
It's hard. I don't know if people really get how difficult it is. I have comments every once, especially when I go to estate sales, because I'm like trying to get the stuff. I am on the hunt for the stuff. And so I'm not paying as close attention to filming as I am to get the stuff. Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to do.
Well, and that's why sometimes like you get comments like, oh, your video made me sick, but you're trying to like see everything. And especially I couldn't imagine filming at an estate sale. I would be like,
no,
wreck. Because there's people there and you're trying to film and you're trying to get stuff and you literally have one hand tied behind your back because you have your camera.
Estate sales, yard sales, those are competitions. And to try to film that.
You really are.
Yeah.
I tried to film once and there was a whole table of salt and pepper shakers in this basement, which is really unusual for Florida, but it was cool. And I was trying to film and there was just people walking by with big furniture and some guy knocked into me and then I wasn't paying attention and the salt and pepper shakers still had salt and pepper in them, which I didn't realize. So I go to pick one up to show it on camera and the pepper just falls all over the other ones, all over the table. I'm like, okay, I have to stop filming now.
I have on my phone, because I film everything on my phone, and I've got a pop socket. And in my last couple of videos, I realized that I could set my phone down. Oh,
I noticed that.
Yes, you can, huh?
Yeah, and I'm like, well, you have like a little tripod, so you can like set your phone down and then talk about something. So it's only taken me 3 years to figure that out, but
my biggest challenge is batteries. I have the GoPro now, which is great. Yeah. But the battery life on the GoPros, I'm sorry, you're awful. They just last like 15 minutes maybe, and then they die. Wow. So you have to have multiple batteries. Same with the little Rode microphones I film with that I think Laura and Mary Beth have. They're wonderful microphones. They're fabulous, but they die very, very quickly. And so like trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to get before this dies? And I lost that clip, Cyndi, that we had filmed this clip of us finding your gumball machine and my spark plug display.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it had saved it, but nope, it deleted it when it died.
Oh, no.
So that was unfortunate. But the battery thing is also a challenge because you're not only filming and trying to get a good shot and check the lighting and check the stuff that you're looking at and try to describe it and think about what you're buying for sales. But now you have this battery component. It's a challenge. There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Well, I can't, if you ladies don't mind, because I think Nan has got an interesting question that I don't think that she really realized it. And I'm going to go and highlight Judy, who has a specific question that I think kind of buttresses up against Nan's comment. And Judy is saying, what is going on with Goodwill? Mine here has raised the prices. I'm totally shifting gears on us. Here has raised the prices up so high. Have any of you found this? Why am I putting those two, the comment and the question together? Is that this is something that I was really talking to the ladies about before we went live, and something that I'm really, really interested in is one, the cost of goods, and two, as a reseller, keeping in mind that there's a very difficult economy that we are all in at this current time. So when I see something maybe that I would have picked up in the past, I may be less likely to pick it up because of cost. And even say something is $20, I really have to look at it and say, ooh, is that $20 really going to be a good investment? Is it unique enough? Is it special enough to warrant somebody wanting to pay a premium on it? Or is it going to be, I don't value it as much because people's discretionary income, gas, food, everything is more expensive. So that is something that we have to keep in mind. Sourcing is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
I went to a flea market this last week and there was a blow mold that was there. And I was super amped about it. It was the green haunted house blow mold. And I was like, because I'm at a flea market. And now keep in mind, Michael got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, the day of our Tuesday sale, to go to this flea market. Yeah. So I go there and I'm like super amped. I'm like, this is the only thing that I found. Cool, cool, cool. How much is it? And she goes, $150. Oh. And I was like, $150?
$1.50?
$150? Because I was like, did I hear her right? And she was like, well, yeah, because it sells for like $250 online. And I'm like, is this for real right now? But estate sales, same way. You go into an estate sale and all of a sudden the prices are up. Goodwill, they're utilizing technologies, whether it's eBay, whether it's content creators, to look at prices and say, well, so-and-so is getting this, or this is how this is selling. I mean, have you ladies run into that in your sourcing?
I don't shop at Goodwill. So I don't know what's going on at Goodwill. I rarely ever go there. And my estate sales around me have been pricing at retail or higher forever. So it's not something that is new to this time period that we're in. I just have always known that I go the last day because that's the only day I really get to do it.
Yep.
Every once in a while they'll sucker me in. and then I'm usually horribly disappointed because I can't afford any of the things that I wanted to get anyway. So yeah.
I've noticed it here, but I mean, it's nothing new per se for me in Florida. I think the prices have always been sort of high, particularly with mid-century modern, because my theory is that a lot of people get mid-century modern items, or they've had them, when they lived in the Midwest, and then they moved and retired down here and they got rid of a lot of their things. So when you do find some of these mid-century pieces, the prices have always been through the roof. But I have noticed with Goodwill that the prices are just going up. The other day I went in Goodwill again, and I always swear off Goodwill. I'm like, I'm not going there again. It's a waste of my time. But then I think, but that one Goodwill I haven't been to, what if that's that one Goodwill that has a swung base? So then, it suckers me in and I have to go see. And I was digging through the shelves and there was a teapot lid that was cracked, just the lid. And it was a handmade hobbyist teapot, $8.99. I thought, this has to be separated from the teapot. Oh no, I took it up to the front just because I was curious. And I said to the lady, how much is this? She goes, oh, it's $8.99. I said, but it's just the lid. She goes, no, that's right. Who's buying a teapot lid? $8.99. I mean,
at Goodwill. At Goodwill
and broken too. So the prices, I think, everywhere are going up. But also, like you mentioned, Michael, people are catching on. And I think Goodwill and some of the other places, they're doing research and they're saying, oh, wait a minute, that might have value. And then suddenly they're jacking it up. And sometimes I think people do that too because they hear about these shows or these finds that people get and they want to go on eBay and they don't really know how to check the sold. So they see something listed and then they They say,
Well,
oh, well, that's listed for 300. Well, okay, anyone can list anything for
Asking
300.
ain't getting.
Get it.
I have an estate sale company near me that actually will sit there and they will use Google Lens to look things up. And
Oh,
Google Lens only returns listings, things
Yep.
that are currently listed, they don't return sold
they,
listings. So they,
right.
come up with crazy things.
And a lot of people don't realize that. So if you truly want to research something that find out what it has sold for in the past, there you need to either get a worth point subscription with you. If you were a reseller, I recommend you doing. If you're a full-time reseller, this is what you do for a living. It is a subscription, it is a tax deduction. You can write it off on your taxes, but it will pull up several years. I don't even remember how many years it goes up, but you can see what the trends were and what things are selling for. Or you go to eBay and you research the sold comps. You have to toggle that sold comp. You used to be able to have it as a saved setting that you only wanted to look at sold comps, but they've done away with that. So you have to see what things have sold for. I think it's important if you're listing on eBay to look and see what other people have things listed
Sure.
for, so you kind of can gauge where you want to start your price at and see what the market is starting it at. But yeah, and I've seen some people say, and I've been to yard sales too, that if they have an eBay sticker or an eBay printout taped, I turn around and leave. Because I'm like, if you want to sell it on eBay, then list it on eBay. If you're having a yard sale to get rid of things, then that's one thing. But if you're wanting eBay prices, then you need to sell it on eBay. Then don't be asking me to pay an eBay price.
This is why I love sweet peas. Tea. No shade. This is all tea, but these are the facts though. Do you know what I'm saying? And ladies, let's, and if you're not comfortable about it, you don't have to. I don't want to put anybody in a difficult position. And this is actually something that I was talking about with Misty earlier, though, is Sweet Peas is saying Goodwill raise the prices because everyone is buying their stuff.
Absolutely.
I have watched multiple videos about this. As long as we keep buying a ton of stuff at Goodwill, they will keep raising the prices.
Yeah.
100% right. That's 100% right. And whether it is, and what I was saying earlier, oh boy, here we go. The water's starting to get a little bubbly here, folks.
I already know what he's going to say because we've had in-depth conversations about this.
Self-accountability is that, listen, I'm not out here trying to shade anybody because I love a good shop with me Goodwill video. Some of my favorite YouTubers, some of my favorite content are exclusively Goodwill shoppers. So I'm not trying to throw shade like that, right? At the end of the day, everybody got bills to take care of. At the end of the day, everybody's out here trying to earn a living. There's no disrespect on that. Do you know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that I don't have a problem sitting here, and maybe does it make me a little hypocritical? Probably. Is that, I think a lot of times as content creators, we have to take a little bit of accountability. And if we are taking our cameras and quite literally showing Goodwill or other thrift stores, these are the things that I'm coming in because, oh, you've got that marked for $4.99, but I'm going to go sell it for $50. Well, isn't it in Goodwill's best interest then to charge $14.99 for it? But just as Sweet Peas is saying, but then if I can go in there and find it for $15, I can still sell it for $50. So I'm still making, so then I go in and I buy it for $15. Do you know what I mean? So it's it's like this catch-22. You're in a catch-22. You want to put out content, but then you're like, Goodwill's raising their prices. I can't believe Goodwill's raising their prices. But I'm part of the problem. I'm part of the problem.
It's also supply and demand. Because the more and the people that see the videos and they get excited and they think they're going to get a treasure and they go in there and they shop and they're buying stuff and we're all going in there and we're all buying Goodwill stuff, like somebody said earlier, then that's more demand. So they're going to raise their prices because they're, they have more demand for their stuff, even though they get it for free.
But I'll kind of counter that because I also see several videos through different thrifting people I follow outside of our community on TikTok that do general reselling on eBay. And they go to yard sales, flea markets, that kind of things. And they say, why are you charging $79 at a Goodwill when you're a Goodwill or you're a yard sale? You expect yard sales to have the deals. Now, of course, I'm not saying people can't charge what they want.
Right.
Anyone can charge whatever
They
they
are a
want.
business. They
They
are a
are a
business at
business.
the end of the day. Yeah.
But if you are a Goodwill or a thrift store and your goal is to provide things for people at a more affordable cost, then to me, how can you continue to be a Goodwill and raise prices just because of the reseller community that's using you? Because everybody has a right to go into Goodwill and shop. And
Yes.
Goodwill, in my opinion, shouldn't judge whether you're a reseller or someone that is going in because you can get a good deal on clothes and that's what you need. It should be, I think, generally priced for everybody.
Well, does anybody actually, I'm sure there are a number of you out there that actually know the reason that Goodwill was started. It was actually started by a pastor, it was started by a clergyman, and he would take people with learning disabilities or people that were back in the day discarded um, due to a variety of different reasons. And he would actually go around to wealthy neighborhoods asking for items that were in disrepair. And he would actually train his employees a technical trade, which was restoring those broken or damaged items. And then they would sell those repaired items at a substantial discount. And that money would be reinvested then into job programming and outsourcing. So it seems that I think a lot of times it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, bigger. So it kind of, I don't know. But yeah, Rob is saying that Salvation Army is also raising their prices. And Rob, I agree.
Yeah.
They have their cases now. They have their cases up front where they've got the premium items. So it's not just, and that's the thing, it's not just Goodwill. It's not like, oh, it's just let's gang up and beat up on Goodwill. No, it's not just Goodwill. But they're leading the charge. Fair to be fair, they're leading the charge now.
It's honestly everywhere. I mean, I don't shop at Goodwill for resale, honestly, because now listen, Michael and I experienced the Goodwills in Colorado, and they are so good. So, I mean, if I lived in Colorado, I probably would go in there because you can find things. Here, I don't even bother. It's not even worth my time. But I shop at antique malls, but even then, because of the way that everything is, the prices are up a little bit, and the antique booths, and they've raised their prices. They may see the live sales. They see what things are going for on eBay. They raise their prices too. But what a lot of people don't understand is, or a lot of the vendors don't understand, is if you are selling in a local market like that, you have to price it to what your local market what it will sell for in your local market. So that is kind of I've gone in and I'm like, oh, that's really cool, but it's, there isn't any room for me to resell. And I'll go back in the next month and it'll be on sale for 25, sometimes 50% off. And then I'm like, okay. But it's because we shoot ourselves in the foot. We absolutely do. It's 100% true. But
can I interject really quickly though? But see, that's the thing is like you have to understand that there is Goodwill, and then that every Goodwill is ran as a corporation depending on its regional or geographical area. So every Goodwill within a certain region has its own CEO, and then all of the executive staff underneath it, and then it goes down to the stores. So like Misty has a 50% off day. We've got Mary Widow who has a 99-cent Sundays. I don't get that. They've
done away with all of the there's no half price day. There's no senior day. They've gotten rid of all of it.
Okay. Well, see, there you go. So it just depends on, that opportunity doesn't exist. And at the end of the day, like truthfully, like by the time Sunday rolls around, if you don't get it, there's a local thrift store that I know actively watches my videos and started literally the one day I was in there and they asked me a question like a fool. I answered it because I don't know. I was just, I guess, being naive. And it was, and did like a double take, and I was like, wait a minute, what did I just do? Oh, we're not raising the prices on it. What do you know? They've consistently raised the prices ever since then on specific items that I go in and consistently buy.
Yeah,
You know?
vintage Evita. Goodwill's back east are the worst. They know. They were down here.
But
That's
I've had
right.
really good luck though, not necessarily at thrift stores, but making friends with local dealers at different
Yeah,
antique malls because they know me. And there's two antique malls I consistently frequent here, and I call her the brooch lady. She's very sweet. I know her really well, and I know the lady that runs this other booth that sells glass. And they're really always nice to give me 20% off because I buy so much from them.
yeah.
And I also am buying things for my collection too, particularly with the brooches. And the lady knows me and she's taken a real interest. And I think that helps too. When you can actually get to know somebody and make a relationship with them, then they become interested and they're willing to work with you too if you consistently come back. And the
Mhm.
antique stores love that I'm promoting them too on my channel. They seem very interested in that.
Yeah, the antique stores that because I always ask when I go in if it's okay to film, and the antique stores, once they know, they're happy. Most of them are like, "Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, do whatever you want to do.
Right.
We're happy to have you do it."
And
Yeah,
to me as a content creator, that's important to me because it's a small business. So I want people to come in and I want them to shop. I want them to come in. I want them to see these great antique malls and all these booths and all of these small businesses, and I want them to come in. So I know, and I've gotten comment, why are you telling people where to go? Well, because it's a small business. I know what it was like when you're just begging for people to come in your door, you know?
Especially
So
rural
a
areas.
rural area, and I want to get these places known and seen, and that's very very important to me.
Well, it also helps keep these malls in business. And if you like
Yes.
shopping there, you want
Yeah.
them to stay around. Fans and Stoves, one of my favorite antique malls that has the brooch lady, they're actually dealing with some issues with their landlord and they're going to get kicked out, I guess, because the rent for a lot of these places are just sky high now in Jacksonville. The guy, I think she said they want to charge 10,000 a month for them to rent that
Yep.
space, which is insane. And so, of course, they're having to possibly move or maybe close down. And that would just kill me because I've been going to Fans and Soap since I was a little kid, you know.
Aw.
So, those kinds of businesses, I love getting other people to go to because I want them to be able to stay around.
Yeah, absolutely. That I think that is kind of like, you want people to go in and experience the real, like a real true antique store and support those businesses and learn from that. I mean, we say all the time to go in and ask to see something out of a case so you can learn about that item and see it and feel it and touch it and just kind of, learn about things a little bit. So, and maybe if you're at an estate sale and you find something and you've learned because you've experienced that at the antique mall. So I don't know. I mean, I think that it is, I mean, everywhere. I mean, even us in live sales, we've experienced a downward in sales, and we have to be cautious about what we are buying as well. And so I think that it's going to be an interesting fourth quarter. We were kind of talking about that a little bit before the show started. I think a lot of people our sales have been down, and we were talking about like YouTube views have been down, and I think when my brick and mortar was open, this was a slow time of year in general because people are finishing up their vacations or they're getting their kids and the grandkids back to school and college is starting and there's festivals going on and there's this, that, and the other. So people are being preoccupied with a lot of different things. And starting in October is really when you should start seeing a little bit of an upswing, but it's going to be a little interesting to see how this fourth quarter is in this current economy.
Well, and I think that's the important though. I mean, I guess pardon me, that's something that we can talk about too, is that, and again, we'll go back to what we were saying earlier though, is that a lot of the things that I'm looking for, I want them to be unique. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, there has been I don't think any greater time as a reseller to find things that are unique. If you're bringing the same things over and over, or you're bringing similar things, or you're seeing multiple sellers, offer the same things, then what's the incentive for somebody, one, to attend the sale at all, or two, to want to buy it because it's common?
Well,
Well, I just, Misty just had that. Michael had it. Now Katie, now Cyndi had. So where's the incentive? Where's the excitement? You know what I'm saying? Like,
George
and
is
I
in.
think,
George is in the chat, and I'm going to say it wrong. So, George, you could say what your rule of thumb is about buying and selling in general. You either have to. I'm going to say it wrong, so I'm going to let him say it. You either have to have the best one, the only one, or
the cheapest one,
the
or
cheapest
something
one.
like that.
And it's on point. It's such good advice to, like, when you're out shopping and sourcing, to keep that in your mind. Everyone should hear George's words in their mind when they're
I'm
shopping.
looking, I'm so far behind in the
I
chat. I'm
try
going to
to
have to, oh my God, I'm really far behind in the chat, y'all.
I try to do
There's
that
been a
with
lot
brooches.
of questions. A
Well,
lot.
help me out, woman. You've got access
I know,
to. Damn it! The one night we're not double clicking on each other. She's like, there's so many. We'll start clicking.
okay, I'll go back up too. Let's
I'm
see.
like, oh, like halfway through the chat.
I've noticed too, like you said, there's a lot of sales within our community, and I've noticed that sometimes I tend to see the same things circling the sales, and I
Yep.
think it's important to pay attention to sort of what people are interested in buying and what people already have, because I think things become popular within our community for a very short time because people like them, and then once everybody gets said item, then they've kind of done
They're
shopping
over it.
that item, and now they're ready for the new next exciting thing. And I think that's important as resellers to kind of find what that is. And if you continue to try to bring unique things to the sales, things that maybe people haven't seen before, you might always have a buyer for something. But if it's a consistent fairy lamp, nothing against fairy lamps, but that's just an example, like the clear Homeco ones. There's a lot of those out there, and nothing wrong with people liking them or buying them, but there's just so many of them that I think all of us already kind of have one.
Yep, I agree. I'm looking for questions. Guys,
Well, and I
remember,
think,
put them in all caps.
yeah,
We can see them easier.
I think that's a conundrum, and I know George knows this, but it's kind of like one of those things where, you're kind of you want to try to appeal to as many as, Kitty was saying there too, is you want to appeal as many people as possible. You don't want to be redundant. So it's kind of like you have to have enough impactful or the wow items where people are like, what is that? I want that. And then you have to have like those bread and butter items, if you will, those middle of the lane. But it's like the middle of the lane stuff it's kind of like, no, not so much.
No, Nancy, not noticed any
No.
difference. But I like having them separate. I do like having them separate.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that. Although do you get a hold of someone to help you with a question? It is impossible for the Google. I'm going to go way back up because Sweet Pea's Attic, this is way up there.
Oh,
What
that
kind
is.
of program do you use to edit videos? I use Filmora. Filmora. That's who I use. Michael, you use on your phone, right?
I use a free video editing app software. It's literally called Video Maker. I don't know if it's available in the Apple Store. I know it's available on Google Play Store, but it's completely free.
I also have, I think I pay for the licensing rights for the music, but I think that the app itself is probably free, and that's Power Director Pro, and I use that on my Android phone. I love it. It's very user friendly as far as there's not. It was easy for me to figure out how to do it through their tutorials. Very easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Final Cut Pro, which I know out of everybody is the more fancy of the editing programs.
It is.
But I really enjoy learning technical things, and so for my brain, I have fun learning different things, and I just really enjoy that program. So I've had fun putting in different effects and things. I'm not anywhere near the type of editing that we all saw in the Elvis movie. That was really impressive, but I'm learning.
I tried Final Cut Pro. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, this is too much for my little
I
brain.
know that's my like if I
I was
have
like,
to have a
what?
degree in it, no, I don't want to do it. I want to have fun. I actually do like editing the videos. It's probably one of my most favorite things to do. So it's kind of like if I have to learn about it, that I'm like, oh, this isn't as much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
I
will say
even
a basic transition goes a long way in your videos.
I
So
agree.
you don't have to have Final Cut Pro to make a great video. Just putting in a basic fade or cross dissolve
I agree.
changes everything and makes a video so much more enjoyable to watch for people in the community.
And I know so there are some people that do not edit their videos, and that's fine. I used to not edit any of my videos because I didn't know how. I just didn't know how, and so I didn't do it. But I think that if you're wanting your channel to grow, learning how to use those tools is very, very, very important. So you can watch free tutorials online on how to edit a video and just give it a try. You might enjoy it. It might be really enjoyable and relaxing for you. You never know. So
I love editing videos. I sit. That's one of the things that I'll enjoy if I have time at home or whatever, and my husband and I are not actively watching something. I'll sit there and I'll be playing around, editing a video, or downtime somewhere. I edit a video.
yeah, I
I
typically
actually
have
really
one
enjoy it.
headphone in one ear and one out, so I can but I'm editing, but I'm, you know, you have to
Mhm.
multitask sometimes in the evening. Oh
Well,
my
and
God, Theophane.
YouTube's a
No, there's
great
all kinds of
resource.
life skills.
Well, but see, I
Oh,
think with
but
TFA, but I
everywhere.
think this is interesting though, is that I think depending on who you're watching or who you have been watching, you may feel that there are fewer YouTube live sales because I think that a lot of people that were doing YouTube live sales have transitioned to go over onto the what they're selling exclusively now on Whatnot. So you may actually feel like there are fewer sales happening on
Oh
YouTube
yeah.
Live. But I think Kendra is also bringing up an interesting point, and I think that they go together.
Yeah.
And this is something we were also talking about beforehand: is the oversaturation of sales. And not only now is it just occurring on YouTube, now you have a whole new platform where live selling is occurring.
Yeah.
Have you guys felt that what like additional Katie, Cyndi, you have both have taken advantage of the Whatnot live selling platform. So, I mean, do you feel that it's affected your YouTube live sales?
For me, I just did one. It was a hot mess.
Okay.
I haven't gained the courage yet to jump in and try another.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, I haven't noticed anything one way or the other because I didn't really do it very much. So
What
What
about
I
about
you?
you,
felt
Katie?
I felt like so the first Whatnot sale I did, Whatnot suggests that you start everything really low to entice people to come to your
Hmm.
sales, which makes sense, and then you can raise your prices kind of as you build your audience. But I found that with that, there weren't a ton of people interested in buying what I had for sale because the items that I could bring to that sale at such a low price point were not the items that people really are after. So I found for me on Whatnot that I'd have to start the things that I normally would buy that I consider really good and I want to bring to the sales a little higher. And I think that during my extravaganza, I had a lot of luck with that. But after that, I've noticed that maybe people aren't as, for my audience, on Whatnot as they are on YouTube. So I've not really found that Whatnot has per se affected my sales, but I think more of my audience I've noticed is on YouTube because they're used to me being there than they are on Whatnot. And I think some of our demographic, at least for me, are
Hmm.
folks that aren't as young. And so the technology and the Whatnot app sort of scares them a little bit, and they're not as willing to jump over and try it. I love Whatnot. I think it's a great selling platform, and it's a great way to sell different things and reach a different audience. But I think if you're trying to connect with your YouTube audience, I'm finding for me that YouTube is still the better platform, and I enjoy the way that it is set up, because I love being able to chat with you all and see the comments and highlight them, and I just can't do that and whatnot. I mean, I can see the comments, but they're really small and it moves at a quicker pace, so I don't feel like I can really do what I'm used to doing in the live sales that I enjoy so much.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I love selling on both platforms. I love them equally. I have Whatnot sales every week. I have YouTube sales every week. I love there's very different aspects of it. The thing that I have noticed on Whatnot is you still have to promote your sale, and if you have a social media following, then obviously more people are going to hear about your sale, because it's just because there's more eyes hearing about your sales. But I have noticed that my Whatnot sales, when I'm printing off my labels and doing my shipping, I would say about 75% of my customer base is completely different than on YouTube. So it is definitely a different, it's another stream of income. You know, if you, this is what I do for a living. I sell things for a living. And I hear like, oh, they're just out for the money. This is what I do for a living. So yes, I buy things and I resell them for a profit. That's how I earn my living. But it's a different customer base over there. So it's very interesting, because you can bring, you know, and we were talking in my members chat earlier that, you know, I'm going to do things that I wouldn't necessarily bring to a YouTube sale. I have things that I'm going to take everything off of my eBay store, and I'm not.
Well, you were saying like stamps, like you did really well with stamps.
I did really well with
Whatnot.
postage stamps. Ephemera does better on Whatnot. So it is a different audience over there. So I think that it gives you can play around with it. You can maybe sell things that you're not selling in your YouTube sales, because we do try, you know, we're vintage live sellers. Occasionally we'll bring some things that are not vintage, just because
vintage inspired.
They're vintage inspired. Like I'm selling some Joanna Parker salt and pepper shakers. They're not vintage. They're vintage inspired, but they're highly collectible. But, you know, so I think it gives you a little bit of freedom to play around with things a little bit. I'm going to do a handbag sale, you know, because I have a tote full of handbag sales. So it's just different. But I love Whatnot, and I love it. I love YouTube. I like them both.
And I will say on Whatnot with the brooches, you can get a lot of variety on Whatnot. Yeah. There's a ton of jewelry sales, but not all of them are vintage. So, you know, I find for me that a lot of people really like my vintage brooches. So if I do just vintage on Whatnot, I find that maybe not as many people are interested in just the vintage ones. They want sort of a mix, which is not something that I find here.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, because now Telephane is saying, you know, what do y'all think about like a specific sale? Like, Katie, you're doing jewelry. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you guys enjoy a dedicated sale? Cyndi, you just had a dedicated sale, right?
Right. Yeah, I just had an elf sale.
An elf sale.
It was fun for me, but that's also very broad. So it's elf, but it's like they can have ceramic elves, you can have, you know, the knee hugger elves, it's a very broad thing in that category. I have a problem if I'm doing, I haven't tried it in a long time, because back when I did it, like maybe last year when I first started, if I had too narrow of a thing, then I may not have those people there that night that want that narrow thing. So yeah, I find for me, I like to have a very eclectic mix of things when I have a sale, because I have more chance of having that right person there that night who wants it.
I find with the jewelry sales, it's best for me if I do like a pop-up late night sale where people are just in the mood to maybe buy a little something extra. I find that, like Cyndi said, a lot of people are looking for a variety of things. And that's what I love about your sales, Misty and Michael, is that you both bring different stuff and there's a variety of things. And I know that, like, I really like the advertising. I'm probably going to find it amongst all the other cool things you're bringing, but there's other people that don't like advertising, and they know that you're going to bring the glass or you're going to bring the kitchen. So having that variety, I think overall is really best for everybody. But having a theme sale, you know, there's definitely those bread and butter theme sales like Christmas or Halloween. People are always going to be, I think, pretty much interested in those.
But you know what? Like even with like in because when I did the Halloween sale, it was really important to me because it was obviously it was so incredibly specific. But I
Yeah.
really wanted to make sure that I did have items that were especially like the glass. You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that is so important though to keep in mind is that you can have and you can attract buyers who don't or viewers who don't necessarily quote unquote decorate for Halloween, but
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you can't bring green glass and red glass and orange glass and clear glass and amethyst glass. Like you can bring those things into your sale. Like I know Misty tomorrow has got some non-traditional Halloween items, but look fantastic in a vintage Halloween display because you're playing with the color palette. So
Yes.
do keep that though in mind too, is that even though it's a dedicated themed sale, you can kind of, and I wouldn't even say it's coloring outside the lines, right? You're just being, you're combining maybe some colors to think of some new colors and staying within those lines, but do
Yeah.
yourself a favor and make sure that you maybe like that's one thing that I did is I grouped that glass together and I took a photo specific to just the glass to be like, see, you can buy this stuff too. It isn't all just pumpkins, witches, and cats.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
Think outside the
important
box a
to
little bit.
Pumpkins, witches.
it definitely was
Well, I'm
mainly
always looking
pumpkins,
for the
witches,
witches.
and cats.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the thing. Like, but then if you're going to do that, then you better make sure that those things that aren't traditional to your theme are really good to get people to want to sit through something that maybe not they're not that interested
Well,
in.
the thing on Whatnot, I think that themed sales do much better on Whatnot than they do on YouTube. Theme sales seem to, you know, when you can be a specific, focus on a specific theme, they seem to do better on Whatnot. I love
George, you can say hell here. It's okay.
I love I love the buyer's choice. It's less prep work for me. I mean, I still need to have a catalog and I still need to run things in a certain way, but I'm not taking pictures of a bunch of things. And I'm just you have to keep, but you have to keep in mind the shipping on Whatnot can be a little tricky. So I think that um, I don't know. I mean, I like the platform. I like being able to do both. But I think that on a themed sale on YouTube can pigeonhole you a little bit because you're going to lose some of those buyers. On Whatnot, your crowd is a lot smaller anyway. I typically, you know, on our YouTube sales, we'll have maybe 400 people watching. Sometimes during a Whatnot sale, I might have 60 people watching. I might, you know, might have 50. My bottle sale last week did not do very well. So it's just a little. Yeah, there you go. My bottle sale. What I mean, it was rough. It was rough. If you attended my bottle sale, I was like, I was running things and nobody was buying them. I was like,
She said, trash. I got these brick walls. I'm going to use them. Smash, smash.
Hey,
I did.
I'm glad you brought up the. I'm
They're
glad
all
you
going
brought
in the
up the choice.
box to the auction house.
Do what now?
I'm glad you brought up the choice on Whatnot because I was wondering, having done a sale on Whatnot, and you do the choices, I'm wondering about the whole shipping thing with programming in ahead of time and how you figure that out. Because I mean, I guess if they're all about the same size, then it's
Right.
pretty good. But some things were different size and different weights that you had. And I was watching your QP sale, so I don't know if you can address that. I was just curious. I mean, I'm glad you brought it up.
There's a pretty broad shipping window on Whatnot, and I like to keep things like in my QP sale. Most everything that I sold was under a pound, so I could keep it between. And I can't off the back of my head remember what the breakdown is. It's like 4 to 8 ounces, and you know there's different categories, but you're not adding in the dimensions of the box until after the sale. So like in my bottle sale, I was running things like, and I had weighed 3 bottles They all kept them about the same. They were all under a pound, and I would sell 3 of them. And so then I weighed 3 of them to get that estimate. And then I was changing things around because I was like, if you buy 2, you get 1 free, and then that shipping was calculated in with the 3 bottle sale. So you have to do some prep work beforehand. And keep things around the same weight, because that's what makes the difference, is the weight. And like, I'm not selling books on Whatnot because you can't ship media mail, and that's going to be really expensive to ship a book media mail. So I'm waiting to do that. But I mean, I have a lot of stuff. I mean, I've got over 50 years worth of collection and hoarding and, everything to go through. So I know, and I hear, Daniel and I have talked pretty tirelessly about being able to go out and, it's harder to be able to go out and source things. So he wants to have the sale, but he has to, find the stuff to bring to the sale and this, that, and the other. And that's a foreign concept for me, because I'm like, you don't have nothing to sell? Well, I got all kinds of stuff to sell. But if you don't have 50 years worth of, an antique store in your midst, then it is getting harder to source things to sell that you can buy them to be able to then return them for a profit.
That's my biggest challenge, honestly, Misty. I want to have sales, and I know a lot of wonderful folks in the chat have asked me for sales, and I would love to do sales. It's not that I don't want to, but finding things. I just had a sale with Alex and Aaron, and I had curated that stuff for about a month, and if I had not gone on the world's longest yard sale, I just would not have found the kind of stuff that I would be proud to bring to a sale. Here, a lot of the prices are just, kind of astronomical for things that you guys, I know, really want and enjoy. And it's just tough. So, I think venturing out is the way to go. But then, of course, with the price of gas and everything now, things are just more expensive. I always find things for my collection because I don't mind paying up for my own collection, particularly in advertising, when I know what certain advertising's worth and I know that I'm getting a good deal. But for the sales, man, it is tough. I've got a few people, like I mentioned, that I've really gotten to know, and they give me great bargains, but it's hard. It is really hard right now.
You know what, though, Katie? And I'm so glad that you did mention that again, because I think that's such a wonderful line of conversation to be had. And I think that's something that we've never actually talked about in Vintage Rescue Squad is, and Misty, you were talking about it too, and Cyndi, I'm sure that you've experienced it also, is that the impact that as a content creator, as a reseller, that you can have on a small business, and especially if you are going in and you're making a video and the video is dedicated to that specific business, and then you go in there repeatedly, and maybe you've made more than 1, maybe you've made more than 2, and the amount of appreciation, if you do have the pleasure of meeting these small business owners, it's just absolutely, or the vendors that are within there and the relationships that you can build. It's absolutely amazing. And it's probably one of the most humbling experiences that I have had in regards to doing reselling. It's so genuine. I mean, it quite literally, you can hear it and you can see it in somebody's eyes and in their demeanor, and it's absolutely amazing. I don't even know where I was going with that, other than I guess I just wanted to express myself, but
Well, I mean, no, I think that you're talking about, small businesses supporting small businesses. And I think that that's important, and I think that, I think that a lot of people, especially the people that are, buying and selling antiques, that's something, that's a concept that's very important to them in general. So I think that, it's definitely worth mentioning and talking about. And, and I see, I have the bad thing about when you are a content creator, and I've seen the comments, if I'm buying something for myself, I'm going to pay whatever price I'm going to pay for it. If I want it for me, then I'm going to buy. But if I'm going, say I would go to Michael's sale on Friday, if I would have been able to go to Michael's sale, I wouldn't I wouldn't want to go in there and buy something because I would if I was going to keep it for myself. But I mean, if I'm going in to source for something, if I would go into Michael's sale and I would buy something and then I would go and sell it in my live sale, I would get so much hell for that. Well, she bought that from him and sold it for more money. Listen, if you buy something from me and you go and you resell it for more money, I love that. Please do. If you want to buy it to resell it, do it. That's what it's all about. But you can get some comments from the peanut gallery if they noticed that you bought something from them and then you're turning around and reselling it. That's not very nice of you to do that. But that's just this is what we do. This is what we do for a living.
There's a guy in our local antique mall that has a booth that he runs 25% off sales all the time. And it's not that he's jacked his prices way up and trying to make it look better. His prices are like $5 to $1. I mean, this guy, he's a real digger booth. But he's got the best ephemera, the best stuff. And I love going in there. But what's funny is the guy that's next to him that has a really high end, everything's at retail, but beautifully curated booth. He shops from the guy next door, and the guy has no issue with it because I think he's retired and it's his hobby.
Yeah.
And he's making money off of it. And he's fine. He got what he wanted out of it. And now the other guy's getting what he wants out of it. So I think that's kind of comical, but it's also great because they're supporting one another.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Connie, our meet and greet is going to be Saturday at 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. And again, that's Saturday, not this Saturday. What is today?
I don't know, Michael. I don't have my calendar in front of me.
So not this weekend, the next weekend.
Yes.
And Cyndi is going to be there as well.
Yes, she is.
I'm excited. I've been planning to go. Well, I was going to go last year, and then my
Sugar
husband
Britches.
was in the hospital, and I couldn't go.
Yay, Cyndi.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting. So if you guys are out there and you want to stop by, please do. We'd love to meet you.
George has a booth, the Antique Nomad. Is it 310 or 301?
301.
301.
George, is it the same one as last year? If it is, then it's literal. Oh, is it?
Yes.
It's literally right. Yeah.
It's not too far away from where we're going to be. And I think maybe Mark and Derek, Ariana's husband, might be manning George's booth while he's at the meet and greet. So 301. 301.
301.
I'm so excited too about the fact that there are going to be people that we see all the time in the chat coming. So not just people that have YouTube channels, but people that we see in the chat. So I told all people that came to my sale last Wednesday, a lot of these people that you interact with might be there. So that's really cool. It was so much fun when we were on the World's Longest Yard Sale. We ran into Jeffrey Ross, who's a regular.
That was wonderful.
And Pamela. I mean, so that's just really fun. I enjoy that. So that'll be a really good time.
It's just exciting for us to be able to meet somebody whose name that we see in the chat all the time. You know what I mean? That's really, really exciting to put a face with a name.
It's wonderful.
It is such a cool thing. It's such a cool thing. Yeah,
it was just so cool meeting Jeffrey because we were in this field and this guy came up to us. He's like, "Hey, I know you." And I had only seen Jeffrey's dog picture, in the chat. So I didn't know it was Jeffrey. And then when he said, "Oh, I'm Jeffrey," I'm like, "Hey, you're on everybody's sales all the time." It was just really cool.
Yeah, it's really fun to be able to put a name to a face.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really am thankful that they've allowed us to do this. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's really nice that they're allowing you to go in there. So, but it is kind of early.
It's early, but here's the thing. You remember it was so hot last year, so hot. So I'm thinking, okay, we do it, and they thought it would be good to do it early because after about 10:30, people want to start eating lunch, and that dining area gets to be crazy. So we won't be sweaty. We can meet people before we're hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll tell you on the yard sale, Cyndi knows this. it was just awfully hot. I mean, one day it was like 102. And I love getting to hang out and meet people, but I did not feel at my best freshness during the yard sale. So it's nice to do it before you guys get all in the throes of shopping and sweating and the
It
heat.
was
I've
so hot at that world's longest yard sale. The humidity was crazy. Oh,
Oh,
it
it
was
I've had
was.
that distinct pleasure. I have. People are like, "Hey, aren't you the cult of vintage?" And you just have, and you're like, "Hi," and in your head you're thinking, "Oh my God, of all moments to be meeting somebody for the first time, really, this is happening right now." And you're like, "They probably think I'm so gross. They probably think I'm."
Well, and I had a ball cap on, which I don't normally wear, but I needed
Okay.
something for the GoPro that was strong enough to hold it. So I ended up in a Tractor Supply in Kentucky somewhere buying a fishing ball cap, which just does not suit me. But I had that on, and people kept seeing me, and I'm like, yeah, this just isn't me,
Yeah.
you know.
Michael loves sweaty hugs. That's what
No, I
was
don't.
his favorite.
There's going to be a
Sweaty.
very large bottle. Look, I'm just putting it out there. All tea, no shade. All tea, no shade. I am putting out a very large, and it's compliments of Michael Todd, yours truly, the Cult of Vintage. One of those big, I almost cursed, one of those big bottles of hand sanitizer. Yeah, it's gonna
And
be there.
Michael's a germaphobe.
I'm not a germaphobe. I'm really, truly not a germaphobe. I am just aware of how gross people are.
People are.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. After working in retail, right,
Yes.
Michael?
I am just
Yes.
fully aware of how nasty people are. And I ain't trying to have anybody else's business up in my business. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah. 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 We always have hand sanitizer is good. It's good. And you have to clean your hands because there's really good food to eat at the thing too. Donuts in the morning.
I
And meat
totally.
parfaits in the afternoon.
Oh God, no. There'll be no meat parfaits for me. I
I
like
mean, it was amazing. It just did not agree with me later on. So no more meat parfaits from Michael either.
no. Mark
I'm
will be
laughing at Beth's comment. Do you guys ever watch the TV program Monk?
Oh yeah.
no.
No, I have not.
So he was a literal germaphobe, and every time somebody would go to shake his hand, he would ask his assistant for a wipe. Wipe.
Oh.
We used to watch that all the time. So I always think that. And then as we were coming out of the pandemic, I would be places and people would come and they would shake my hand. And it was everything I could do not to just reach in and grab something and wipe my hands right away. I'd be like, you can do it
Okay.
later. You can do it later. It's okay. Remember, just remember, don't touch your face. Wipe.
Yeah, I don't dirt I don't mind. Dirt I don't mind.
No, he
Like
doesn't mind dirt.
dirt I don't care. There's a difference between dirt and filth. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't like filth. Like germs, cooties, like human body stuff. Ugh, no.
Nan's gonna start walking. Nan, you might be able to, if you start walking tonight, you might be able to get there.
Girl, I bet you will. Come
Nan,
on, man. Get it.
Nan, I will bring you a lucite candle. If you can light your way back home with the lucite candle.
That might explode. Sparks just flying down the side of the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be out there, then come on out and meet us. And honestly, if you see us if we're out shopping, a lot of us that are going, we will be shopping separately because we're not all going to stay together to go shopping. We're going to be, breaking off.
I didn't really want to be around everybody, so that was my condition.
But I mean, if you see us while, if you're coming you can't make it to the meet and greet, but you see, one of us out there, come and say hi. Absolutely. Come and say hi. And it's all good. It's all fun. Nan, I'll start swimming. Heidi's going to start swimming. Heidi,
Okay,
come on.
cool. Just remember, you get tired, just take it easy, chill, float on your back, let the waves.
Yeah.
See, someone
Yes.
needs to rent a bus, a vintage bus, like a party bus, and then all of you guys can meet in a central location and take the bus That would be fun.
Mhm.
I still want to do the RV trip. I do. I want to do an RV trip. I'm begging my daughter to take me. Oh, Zoe, 8 hours is not bad. Michael, how long of a
No.
drive is it for you?
7.
See, there you go, Zoe.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah, it's true.
And make sure that you give Michael a big sweaty hug.
No. Ew. Mm-mm.
No.
They'll be like, who was I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about. Who?
Yeah, he'll tell you no. He will
I
tell
will. I'll be like, no. Hello, how are you? Good.
That's why elbow bumping is so good. You know, you can just, elbow
Yeah,
bump.
yeah, yeah. You're not gonna be touching your food with your
Yeah,
elbow.
Zoe, you're
You're
not
rubbing your
far. You're not. Mm-mm.
Mm. Yeah,
18 hours. Yeah.
Sarah and David are driving 18 hours. They are going to stay. They're going to be my first guests in the apartment
Oh,
above the shop.
week. They're taking 2 days. You've got 2 drivers. Look, you could probably get there in half the time. You could probably get there, well, maybe not half the time, but yeah, half the time. You won't have to take 2 days. David drives 9 hours, and Sarah, you can nap, and then Sarah's going to drive, and then David's going to nap, and bada bing, bada boom.
I'm
Not
really
even 24
sad
hours later.
that Skipper's not going to be making the journey with them.
Aw,
Aw.
Skipper coming.
Skipper.
Skipper. So what else are we going to talk about? Let's
I don't
talk.
know. That's okay.
Well, I don't know. What else? Sarah Lee said, "Oh my gosh, Sarah Lee, we may do the Pacific Northwest next summer. We've been talking about it.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. We absolutely we've been thinking about that.
I'm not even joking. I don't know that I wouldn't mind driving. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but
That sounds crazy.
no, but I like,
like.
but imagine all of the things that you could see and all the different places that you could go. And that's some really exciting. I mean, you're quite literally taking not only yourself, but everybody along to brand new places that you've never been.
I mean, I can see that, but I would like to be able to.
Yes,
Mark
George.
would throw me out of the car. I mean, we drove up to Michigan, and I was like going a little stir crazy, So I don't know about driving across the country,
I
but
would love to do something like that, like what Michael suggested. My problem is that I've tried to do live sales on the road before, and they don't go well for me.
yeah. Oh, it's a
Well, not
lot.
even a live sale. I wouldn't see that's the thing. I wouldn't do a lot like, and that you could like rent a people mover. It doesn't even have to be an RV, right? And like if people could drive to certain, like you have a predestined route, and then that route is meant to kind of pick up as many people along. So maybe you might have to drive an hour or two to get to the people mover, but then it's kind of like a tour bus, if you will. So, it starts like I'm driving the people mover, and then I go through Ohio, and, Cyndi has to drive an hour, but then I pick Cyndi up, and then we continue down and we start going, and Katie drives up, and then maybe, Miss Pamela drives an hour, and then we go, and Misty drives down an hour, and Ariana, and then you just kind of make your way across that way. So I don't know.
I think it
It would be
cool to
interesting.
travel the country.
That was a
I
fun
mean,
idea.
I drove to St. Louis, and that's a 2-day trip. It's 14 hours. I could do it in one day. My grandparents used to. They're from Cape Girardeau, and that's what they did. But it's just so much more fun to stop in Atlanta and enjoy Atlanta, and then travel your way up. And next time I go, I really want to just be one of those people that sees an antique mall or sees something on the side of the road and just pulls off.
That's my dream.
Yeah, because that is just the best way to do it.
Time to do that. So we were talking about getting somewhere. My daughter goes to school in Louisiana, and it's a 16-hour drive for us to get down there. So that's a 2-day trip. And I mean, we're so tired, and we just want to get there.
Yeah.
And then when I'm with my husband, he's a little bit more constrained with his work than I am. So he has limited time. So you just kind of want to get there.
Right.
I have that opportunity.
That's why I'm starting to downsize now. because when Mark retires, that's what we're doing. We are going to we're going to get an RV and we're going to travel and we're going to decide we're going to be somewhere for a month and then we'll go live. Oh, it's thundering. We're going to go live somewhere else for a month and then still have a home base. But that's our dream. That's why I'm downsizing. I'm having an auction. I'm downsizing and just preparing for the future because that is our dream, to be able to just have no plan, just decide, just drive along and then stop somewhere if we want to. So
Yeah.
I think that's about everybody's dream, is to just be able to drive and stop when they want to. And
Do whatever you want, whenever you want.
And
Yeah.
discovering those
Which is
places.
George, it is all being sold. I'm selling all of
I'm
it.
still here.
I'm selling it. My Sunday night sales from this point on are going to be things from my own home. Did you, Michael? Well, we're still
Michael
here. He'll be
disappeared.
back. He'll be back. But yeah, no, I need to get rid of stuff because, it's a lot.
One of the best places that I discovered was by accident when I was driving to the world's longest yard sale. I had to stop off to get some coffee and I couldn't find the coffee place because it was a lot longer off the route than the little picture described on the little board by the exit. But I ended up finding this antique mall and I found one of my holy grails, which was a wooden card catalog. It was just amazing. And it was in this tiny antique mall in Georgia, which you would just never expect to find in this town that had to be, I mean, the whole town probably could have fit in their little town square. And it was just delightful. And it wasn't on a map or wasn't part of a big tour or anything. It was just something that I happened to discover. And to me, those are some of the best places.
Oh, absolutely. And just being able to talk to the people, like, and hear their story on their shop. And, because a lot of times you hear just wonderful stories from these old time antique dealers, and they kind of tell you how things used to be and how, they don't really like technology. So it takes you a little bit longer when you're checking out because they're like writing everything, But I love those interactions and those stories with those people. So that makes sense.
I had a delightful interaction with a gentleman, Ron Berryman, at our local antique mall. He actually is a sign dealer. George might know him because I think he knows George, but he deals in advertising, and I love his booth. And finally got to meet him in person for the first time the other day. I just happened to be walking through, and he was stocking his booth, and I said, "Are you Ron by any chance?" And I ended up staying in the antique mall to talk to him for 2.5 hours. We sat down in a chair, and he used to buy all of the Coca-Cola button signs for Cracker Barrel. He's been doing this over like 45 years. And I showed him pictures. He wanted to see my collection, and we talked advertising, and I got to hear his story. And now he's looking out for things for me that,
nice.
And it was just the most amazing, delightful conversation. So I love getting to chat with people in your antique malls and get to know them, because they just have so much to share and you can learn from them. I learned so much from Ron in the 2.5 hours that I got to talk to him about signs and all kinds of cool things.
And he probably learned things from you too. You know what I mean? Just having that back and forth, you got some feedback from him and he probably learned a lot of things from you too. So I think that's wonderful. I love meeting people and hearing their stories like that. I love that.
Did I miss questions?
Oh, Larry. Oh my gosh, Larry.
Check your pockets, Sarah Coleman. Check your pockets.
God. I can't even with that.
Oh
God. Sorry, that's a whole story. That's all.
All right, guys, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, Amy was there. Amy knows. Okay, question from Lucinda. Why, in trying to create content, couldn't you film that and share it with us? 2 birds and 1 stone. Oh, you mean like filming someone's story? Like Katie said that she goes in and talks to them. Is that what you mean, Lucinda? Just verify that's what you mean, and we can definitely we can answer that.
I've asked a lot of owners or vendors if they want to be on,
Yeah.
or if they mind being on, and they're like, no. I'm like, okay, okay, you don't have to be. I was,
Yeah,
And
that's
every
what.
once in a while, you find the ones that do. I was at the flea market last Friday and asked if I could film in this one booth, and they said, "Oh, sure, do whatever." And as I'm filming this one item, I picked it up, and the guy came over and was telling me all about it because I was filming for YouTube, which was great. It's going to be great that he did that. I mean, but
Yeah.
but it is funny. You get one or two people run away, this way, or they come over and
Or
they're
you
always.
can't get them to leave.
hmm
And you're there talking to them for 3-4 hours. Yeah. Yeah.
I have asked the brooch lady that I just love, Susie, if she would be interested in being on YouTube, because I would just love to interview her because she travels to England. They do a big buying trip to England every year and she buys brooches. She goes to the Paris flea markets. I mean, her stories are incredible. And she's just so shy. She just said, "No, I'm okay, but thank you." And I'm like, man, that would be such good content. But I mean, just being able to meet her and have that interaction is really cool for me since I admire her booth so much.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's engaging though too. You know what I mean? Like then it's another part of that story. And I don't know. I think that, a lot of what has brought us all together is the love and the appreciation of vintage and antiques and the stories behind them. And to see somebody share their story and their passion, or it excites people, and it's wonderful to see. So we'll keep trying, you guys.
We'll keep trying.
We'll keep trying.
Ruthie has a good question. What is the newest, hottest collectible item now, and what to stay away from now? Well, fairy lamps are on the decline. I will say that. They're still selling, but don't pay lots of money for them. Um, I, and some people say bluebirds of happiness, but I'm telling you what, bluebirds of happiness. Well, I'm sorry. I thought my garage door was opening, but it was not. It was a different sound. But they still sell pretty. They're like a bread and butter item, I guess you want to say, as far as reselling goes. But I don't know. I think right now, Halloween, Christmas, holiday things are hot right now. And I will always buy non-traditional things, and that's when I'm shopping. I look for how people can use things in their home for their
Yeah.
decor. That's what I'm looking for when I'm shopping.
I look for the things that I'm like, I have never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I look for. If I see it and I like it aesthetically and I'm like, I have never seen that before,
Yeah, right.
that's where I go for it. So it's never a question of a specific thing, because it's like I want to find the stuff that somebody else is going to be able, like, George is saying, right? I want to find the only thing, right? Otherwise you're kind of stuck in the position of having to find the cheapest thing. I do this full time, so I can't always do everything the cheapest way. So I have to go for like, whoa, I've never seen that. Whoa, nobody else is going to be able to find it. If you want it, you got to get it right then and there. So that's the hottest thing, is always the thing that you've never seen before.
Yeah. Well, and other people are saying, oh, fairy lamps are still good for them. What I have noticed in my selling market, they are not doing as well as they once did. But I mean, I would go and spend sometimes $150 for a fairy lamp and bring it to a live sale. And there's been a lot of times that I've lost money or I've broken even on those. So that's telling me in my mind, cool it down a little bit on those. So it is the market changes so frequently, I think.
And I think every seller has something different for them that's doing well and not doing well. For me, I think uranium glass right now is sort of on the out a little bit, unless it's something just really different and unique. Because a lot of the basic anchor hawking patterns and things are just easy to find. They're pretty much everywhere. And now a lot of our malls are catching on to it, and they have the cool black light displays, but they're jacking the prices up because it's uranium, and people are realizing, well, that Sherbert isn't worth $34. Like I can find that sherbet for $5 somewhere. And then people get enough of them, and they honestly, some of the one-off pieces, even though I really like them, they don't know what to do with them. It's kind of hard, if you have one sherbet, okay, well, that's neat. You could use it as a trinket dish, but what else are you really going to do with it in your home?
Well, and figural uranium glass pieces do pretty well. But like the cups and saucers, and like you said, the sherbets, and they're not, but they're common. It's a common thing to see.
Unless it's an unusual pattern. Or for me, I find that uranium brooches or brooches with cadmium still are quite popular. People love that because they're different. They're not something you see every day. I like with the brooches trying to pick up some of the really elaborate Austrian crystal ones, or maybe some of the ones that are more figural, because those are interesting. Like people love, like, oh, cool, that's a seal or a whale. Wow, you don't see whales every day, It just keeps it different and new.
You know what, Karen, and here's the thing. I have, as a matter of fact, over the course, I think, of the last 2 months, I've said in introductions and outros that if there's specific things that you were looking for, is all you have to do is email me. I mean, I'm quite literally going out almost depending on the week, almost every single, and that is true. I probably look almost every single day. For things. So it's quite literally, if you're looking, but I will say this, y'all out there have got some really good taste because you have requested. But see, that's where it puts me in that frame of mind. You guys aren't asking me to look for things that I find, things that I can go out to a Goodwill and get, things that I can go into, because if that were the case, you would already have it. I mean, there are very specific, very difficult, very hard, and I love it because I love a challenge.
It's fun, yeah.
It does,
like
exactly. Yes. So yeah, you can email The.Cult.Of.Vintage@yahoo.com and let me know what you're looking for. It's that simple. You know what I mean? It's just, you never know.
Too, if we say in our videos, if you see something that you might be interested in, let me know. And not typically, I will make you an offer that you can get it for better than what you would have if you would have waited for a live sale. Because anytime you're doing an auction, the prices are gonna be kind of wonky. So send me a message, and if it's something that you want, I'm gonna give you an offer, and you can say no, or you can maybe say yes. I sell a lot of things before I even bring it to the live sale from people who emailed me. They'll send me screenshot, and I love it when you send me a screenshot because it makes it so much easier to find. Yes. Do you still have this? And they'll screenshot, and I'm like, yes.
Because we do a lot of videos, and if somebody says, you remember that little blah, blah, blah from your blah, blah, blah video, and I'm like, no. Screenshot really helps. I bought from you that way, Misty. That's really the only way that I can, because I'm with my internet, my fingers just there's no way I'm going to get in there with anything. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate that when I can do that.
I still have a paint can I bought from Misty when she first started doing live sales, and you had to email her to claim items.
Oh my gosh.
And that is so cool. It's one of my favorite things in my house.
Those are the good old days. And people are like, Misty, people don't have to email you. They don't. No, they can just tell you on the screen. Oh, it took me a while to figure that out. But yeah.
Nan is asking a really interesting question. How much do you think that what you say influences the market of what is desirable, so far as when an influencer, I like content creator, I don't consider myself an influencer, makes a statement like Ray Dunn is done, or the Mexican pottery market is soft right now. Do you guys think that you have any sway in that?
I have no sway.
I really don't think so. I think that's right. The only sway is I'm not going to be bringing like $200 fairy lamps to my sale. Yeah. I mean, maybe like that sort of sway is you might not see bringing some high end dollar things that I once did.
Well, let me ask you this. And I think that I don't know if this will maybe put it in a perspective, but okay, let me ask you this because I think most people, like if we're going to be really honest, the whole fairy market craze started, quite frankly, Misty, with you. And then it was just like everybody's like, she sold that for what? And then you bought another one, and it was like, wait, what? And then everybody got in on the game, which cool, respect, fine. There's no shade on that.
No.
Did you? That's the thing though. When you bought that fairy lamp, did you know?
Yeah, I knew what it was. I liked them. I had them in my
Well,
house.
yeah, but did you know that it was going to be the thing?
Oh no, I
Right.
didn't know. I just because that's what the way that I shop. I mean, obviously, if I see something, I'm like, ooh, there's a piece of Van Briggle in this box for a quarter. Ooh, but I shop the way I shop. I look for how people can use them in their home. Now, I bought some quirky things this weekend. I bought a blow mold Smurf bank. I bought
Yeah.
Mr. Moneybags blow mold bank. I bought
Oh.
I bought a whole case full of Dawn dolls in
Oh,
the
did
case.
you?
I bought some little kittles. I was buying some because that is the trend right now, is that, and it's a horrible name, kidcore. Kidcore. I hate the name, but people are buying back their childhood.
Vintage toys.
When I'm seeing those items, but see, you can put them in your
YouTube
decor
Live.
and make them happy. And it just makes you happy.
Look at what I have to show that, but like I'm dead serious. Like when I saw him, he made me happy.
He's
That's
very
what
happy.
it's a lamp. How does that not make you happy? It's a lamp.
It would make me happy.
Make me happy. He'll be available tomorrow, Tuesday afternoon at 1 p.m. on Thrifter Junker Hunter.
Oh, you're
Thrifter
starting
Junker
tomorrow?
live. Yeah.
He's
But
so
I agree. But that's the thing though. I don't think most people go into not all
Yeah.
content creators go into a sale thinking, oh, this is it, or I'm going to start the trend on this. It's like, I think sometimes what happens is that if you're watching a content creator and they stumble across something that they have a personal passion for, and they get very passionate about that item, it's the passion that sparks the excitement in somebody else. So they might not have never been interested per se in that specific thing. Maybe they had an appreciation for it. Maybe they said, oh, that's cool. But then all of a sudden they see the excitement from somebody else, and it gets communicated and translated. And all of a sudden then they're excited about it. And then they see it. And then there's that, oh my gosh. And the next thing you know, that's how it starts, right?
Yeah.
It's that sincerity, it's that genuine passion, it's that interest that I think really evokes. I think is maybe the influence. I think that I think real, true, genuine influence comes from those moments and not from like calculated, I'm going to bring clear glass back because I like clear glass, and because I like clear glass, then in every single video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh, look at this clear glass. Oh, look at this clear glass. Oh, look at this. So like that subliminal kind of messaging kind of thing, that can work. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of effort. But I think it's very organic.
I think you're right, Michael, because when you're genuinely excited about something, even if it's not something that someone is watching collect, they're excited because you're excited. I know that I share a lot of advertising on my channel and through the yard sale. A lot of what I was showing were things that I was just like in heaven going crazy over. And a lot of you guys that collect the mid-century modern probably thought, well, that's cool, but it's a rusty old tire ashtray. All right, awesome. But because I was excited about it, I think a lot of you guys were excited on my behalf because you enjoy seeing somebody else be excited. It's kind of contagious. And with the kangaroo, the little kangaroo guy that I had no idea that he was going to be popular in that moment of the time that I brought him to one of my sales. I just was shopping live at an antique mall and someone says, hey, that's that kangaroo from that Pulp Fiction movie, and I didn't even notice him on the shelf. He just was there, and someone said, you have to get him. And so I got him and brought him to a sale, and a lot of you guys really liked him. And now I've been looking for more because I know that there's a few of you guys that really seem to just think they're cute. And I even own one now. He holds one of my favorite brooches, and it just makes me happy. I've named him Kevin, and he's adorable.
Nan, do you know what? More than just an enthusiasm, I think it's strong emotion, as is what influences us all, isn't it? Though, so yeah. And when you see somebody having a good time, when you see somebody having a bad time, it's kind of like pre-programmed into us, right? We either shut it off, right, or we welcome it in some form of fashion. So it's not necessarily enthusiasm, but it's strong emotion that really. And again, that's another thing. That's another trick for, I think, for me, for buying. Does it evoke an emotion? Does it evoke a feeling? Does it make me think, right? Is it sculptural and it's kind of like it's modernist, so you don't quite know what to think. It's open to interpretation. Does it have very clear messaging to it? But that clear messaging, again, it evokes, what is it? Happiness, joy. Typically, those are the things that I look for. And sometimes it can be somber. Sometimes it can be macabre because people do like that. Again, keeping it diverse. So again, it's all about, is it aesthetically pleasing? Is it evoking an emotion within me? Because that emotion will lead to, oh, I got to have it. The influence, right?
And I also think, too, that if someone shows you a new way to use something, like Magpie Ethel, for example, does a wonderful job with that on her Instagram. She collects all kinds of like jar lids and things that most people would consider to be trash. And of course, all of us collectors are just enamored with graphics and we love it. But when she shows how she can display a bunch of stuff in a jar, or put this here, or Misty, you say something on a sale, or Cyndi, you have an elf that you've displayed in an old, different thing on your mantle. It just makes people maybe more interested in it because now they don't see it as something they don't know what to do with. They're excited about decorating with it in their home. And in my kitchen, I have a Planters peanut jar filled with tape measures. And it was all because I saw some account using tape measures in a jar, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And now I have a collection.
Yeah, seeing the way I tell you what, I always talk about Magpie Ethel too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I never knew I had to collect certain things until I saw her post on Instagram. I'm like, I need that.
Yeah.
I've never seen one.
Yes.
I need those things now, because of the way she displays them. Because they're so cute in her collection. That's why.
And that's what I like to look for too. And I like to see how it can be used in your home, how you can bring in a piece of vintage and antique into your modern, your modern furniture, your modern collections, and intermingling the two a little bit too. I think it's a lot of fun.
And that's, Jane is saying that though too, is that, even when you're watching, and I think that we can all agree but it's like, it's easier to watch someone when they're into what it is they're trying to resell or collect. It translates. There's a sincerity there to it. So yeah. And why would you want to buy something that's though? But truthfully, but I've said this before, and I'm very honest in this though too, is that a lot of the stuff that I do buy for resale, I appreciate it. I appreciate the history. I appreciate and I respect the emotions that it can invoke in somebody else. And I can look at something and be like, oh my God, this is so cute, but I don't want to have it, it doesn't, it's super cute. It's adorable, but I don't want it. Here you go. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Like,
yes.
I like it, but I don't want it.
I am not someone that collects kitsch. I admire it, and I know there's a lot of people that
Me
love it.
either.
I see the joy that people get when they have it, but I like more of the industrial, rusty, crusty things. So even though I might have it for sale whenever I can find it, I get really excited about having it because I know people are interested in it, and I like researching it, but it's not something I necessarily pick up at my own home. Because I know that some of the stuff I collect may not be the stuff that my audience is looking for, and that's okay.
Yeah. I still think, and Lord, this is not what I need to be doing right now, but I still think that it would be so cool. And I've thought about it. Like I keep going back for to set up at an antique mall because then you can play around with.
Girl, come on.
I know, but like then you can display things and show how it's being displayed. And I need one
You're
more.
so good at that too, Misty. I think that
You
might be something fun to play with if you could find the
And
right.
that is something that you can look forward to in the future.
Maybe you can have antique malls across the country and then travel like George does and restock
Yeah.
them as you
Mark said thank
go
you.
around.
That would be great. Well, and I think though too, I think it would be good for my dad. That's like a lot of it is because he buys a lot of things and he doesn't buy a lot of things necessarily that I really am interested in. And he can set them up in his booth and he can still, be doing his hobby and and then not expecting me to sell it. See?
All right. Because you would not show up at the antique mall at all.
I would. I'd help him
I
do
mean,
together.
uh-huh. Right. Hmm.
Oh my gosh, I could never. I really admire people like George that go and set up and reset. I couldn't do it because I would be a nervous wreck. I would be a nervous wreck because I want things to be just so. And I think if you're constantly having to rearrange your setup and pack it up and unpack it and pack it up and unpack it, there's too many variables there from this brain of mine to not explode with. So I applaud the people that can do that. They would kick me out of the flea market for being a weirdo.
But see, you know what, and Christy, that's the beauty of it. She's saying Katie and I collect completely different things, but I love seeing her display things she loves in her home. When people are passionate about what they collect, it's fun to see. And that is such the beauty of this community. And it's such a tragic shame that we somehow can't extend that out further into our
Yeah.
global whatever mess that we're dealing with. Is that there's obvious differences, but we here in this vintage community we get to stand back and appreciate those differences and admire those differences, because I don't collect Coca-Cola, but I'm like, dang, Katie, that's a nice display. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. Like, Misty, I don't really get down with the kitchen as much as you do, girl, but you got it going on over there.
Well,
You
it's
know
all
what I mean? Like that's,
for being
she's like, I
sale.
know it's going on for.
Not the Viking. The Viking is mine.
Okay. Okay. But that's, that's just such the beauty of this community. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I genuinely get excited too when I see other people in the chat win something that I know they collect, because you start to get to know what people like. And you're like, oh, cool. LaDonna got that, or Randy got that, or Tiger got some more purple to add to his collection. I mean, it's just kind of fun.
Nan, that is something that I'm currently working on. I actually, I don't know if you noticed my preview pictures today that I posted on Instagram. I staged them. Did anybody notice that? Probably not. But I staged, I used the books and I put things and I staged them with what little materials I had, because all of my Halloween stuff at the shop is still way high up. I can't get, but I set my books up and so yes, and I did a tutorial on shipping a swung vase. So I might do things on Instagram like, let's stage this fall thing today. I don't know. I'm always looking for different fun things to do.
Yes.
You're very good at staging things. I really love, like, back before you closed down your shop, I used to love you would go through and show like all the different displays and whatever. And even when you were doing your pop-up shop and everything and showing the way you had things displayed, I love that. And it's always nice to get ideas from other people, the way they set things up and the way they display them. Because then, for instance, here's a really cool thing that I learned. It was in Adamstown, Pennsylvania last year. This one place had white Fenton hobnail with silver mercury beads all intertwined through, and it was the most beautiful display I think I've ever seen. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't seen somebody do it. So yeah, I mean, everybody can, learn things off of other people's displays and then get inspired to either purchase those things or do something similar.
And I love Misty watching your Christmas decorations of the shop. I mean, that was just fun. I know that was a lot of work for you.
That's what made me. That was like the coffin and the hammer when we were taking down all of the decorations, and it took a couple weekends just to take them all down. And I just I sat down in the middle of the floor of the shop, just started crying, and said, "I don't want to do this anymore." And Mark said, "Okay," because he was done. He was done a lot long before I was done with doing it, but. Yeah, he was like, okay, and we did. We were like, okay, well, we're not opening anymore. So, but that doesn't mean to say that I can't have like a little section to where I can use some of the furniture that I have, because the furniture will not be going to auction, because furniture does not sell for very much at an auction. So I'm going to keep the furniture that I like and sell what I want to sell. Just take a couple pictures on Facebook Marketplace and sell them that way. But maybe I can do some little decor things.
So Miss Blaylock, that's Katie's mom.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, is asking what my most treasured item is. But I would like to know what everybody's most treasured item is. And I will say my most treasured item. Ooh.
Royal ducks.
That's like in there. I'm trying to decide.
Your dragons.
They did make it. They're in the top. I would say
your mermaid.
No, actually not my mermaids. They didn't even pop into my okay, so it's not an item. Can I cheat? And say that it's not an item? It is my small but mighty Palmer Cox brownie collection.
Oh, yeah, he likes his Palmer Cox.
Yeah. It's really hard to get, and it gets crazy expensive, so I can never get one.
Yeah.
So it's always just like an amazing treat when you can find something. What about you, ladies?
My prized possession is my doodle dog that was sent to me by Miss Jean Metware. Yeah. This is the original doodle dog. She's Cupie's little pupper. I have one that was a more modern one, but I was just shocked that I got a doodle dog.
Oh,
I love her. Him. That's mine.
All right, we're putting you on the spot. Come on, Katie and Cyndi.
Okay, I think my most treasured item, it would be hard because I have a lot of things from family that just means the world to me.
Yeah.
It would be hard to distinguish because I have things in my own collection that would be, up there, high tier. But probably the most special item is I have my grandfather's watch. My dad's father, he had a Mickey watch, and I've shared that on my channel. It's back in my closet, so I don't have it handy. But that watch he wore every day since the 90s. He was a pastor, and he didn't agree with the church and their position on Disney, and he thought that the church should be more accepting and welcoming. And so he got this watch and a Mickey tie and wore it every Sunday in his little protest. And
he was a rebel.
I did not know that story until after he passed. I just, as a kid, remember him putting on the watch and taking it off and putting it on the dresser. And then when my dad told me that, it just made it even more special, and I love that. So I'm lucky to have it and get to see it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Cyndi,
that.
what about you? That's an amazing story, Katie.
It is. Katie has, she's got some really cool things that she shows every once in a while that she's picked up that are family heirlooms. And I just love that kind of stuff because it has stories, the stories mean everything to me. So if you ask me what my favorite item is or my most prized item, first of all, I can never think on the spot. That's just not how my brain works. But I'm sure that it's something that I've inherited from my parents, something that has that sentiment to it. But I can't think of off the top of my head. But like you, Michael, I have a couple collections that I absolutely, I adore. So I have my St. Patrick's Day collection with all my little St. Patrick's Day men and figurines, and I love that. That kind of goes hand in hand with the elves because I love the elves, and I got the elves. I don't know how many of you know the story of the elves. So I knew there were elves in my family's estate, and I also knew that my sister wanted them. So I decided early on that I wasn't going to get bent out of shape about the elves. So I started going out to eBay and getting my own elves so that when the time came for us to divvy up the estate elves, I wouldn't be so upset that that she was getting all of these elves. So that's kind of where my collection started from, and then it just kind of went from there because they're amazing.
They are.
I love the elves.
Cindy has a great collection of St. Patrick's Day
She
things, and
does.
I think that the story behind that's so wonderful.
Oh yeah, I didn't share that story. I'm a storyteller. So yeah, the
Okay.
reason why I do the St. Patrick's Day stuff though is my mother's birthday was on St. Patrick's Day. So we were never Irish. We're not Irish. But my mom always celebrated St. Patrick's Day. She used to dress up for it and do all kinds of, I mean, it was a big deal because it was her birthday. So yeah, it has a near and dear, to my heart thing going on.
That's
Did the,
awesome. I didn't
did
know
the
that.
leprechauns come to your house and tear stuff up?
Do the what?
The leprechauns, did they pay visit to your house and tear stuff up?
No, that never happened, but the elves used to watch me at Christmas time. That my mom used to do an elf on the shelf kind of thing before it was a thing, and the elves used to watch me for Santa, so to find out whether I was being naughty or nice,
Huh?
and we used to trade letters back and forth, me and the elves.
My mom was very creative and she did the leprechaun tearing up things, but we also lived in a very old home that was built in the 30s, and the wall in our kitchen had bricks that were removable. And so there was a few like hidden cubbies in the bricks. And I believe the bricks actually, my mom switched the bricks that were originally in the house and put in some bricks from my great grandparents' house, I think. There's a story with the bricks, but she would leave little notes in the bricks from the leprechaun and would leave stuff scattered all over the house. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, when
I'm sorry.
when I was teaching and the kids would go out for playtime for recess, and I was teaching preschool, and then they'd be out with my aide and I'd be in like getting things ready for the next lesson and stuff, but the leprechauns would come and like flip the chairs over and like dump the toys out and all that kind of stuff, and the kids would walk in and they would be like, what happened? And I had to be like, the leprechauns. And they were like, dude, they were so mad. Those leprechauns. I can't believe it. And so then that would like bring up we do the whole like lesson and stuff. But then we all have to pick up because those leprechauns, oh, they were so mad. It's
Hmm.
kind of
It's
fun.
funny, with as much as I'm into St. Patrick's Day, I didn't know that was a thing. Leprechauns tearing things up. So when you
Oh,
asked me that, I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing.
oh, you've never seen a preschooler so mad in your life over those leprechauns. They were ready to fight those leprechauns for messing up their classroom.
Oh, from the radio station. Oh, yes. Okay, that's fantastic.
Oh,
My
okay.
my great grandfather started a radio station in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, the first radio station in Southeast Missouri, which is very fun.
I knew with your mom and what she does, and you and the radio station. The Katie's got like the perfect radio voice.
Yes, she does.
You have a gift, Katie. You need to start a podcast.
I've always wanted to do a podcast. I should do that.
You absolutely should do that, Katie. And then find a subject like do a story about like the history of Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Or
Yes.
I would totally listen to that.
Maybe that's my next thing. Podcast.
You would be so good at that, Katie. I could sit and listen to Katie talk all day.
Thank you so much. I enjoy it.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Katie. I'm gonna ask
Okay.
Katie. When's your podcast gonna be, Katie?
Maybe I can have rotating guests from our community on.
There you go.
And we could sit in our pajamas because nobody can see us.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. I'm all for some comfy pajamas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That would be great.
Yeah.
She could read audiobooks, Rosie. She could.
I know, but on a podcast, yeah. But those don't. Did they get monetized or something? Well, no.
Yeah, you can get it. They could be monetized.
Yeah, but you can't read an audiobook.
Oh no,
it would be copyrighted.
But you need to like send your voice in to audiobook and say
I would enjoy that.
Yeah. I've heard it's an exhausting job though. I have heard that from people. But I think that you have such animation in your voice that you would be really good at it.
I loved doing the book series. I was reading all those saucy books, but I just didn't want to take any chance with the copyright because there's a whole mess with that. And the more I researched it, the more complicated it got. And I thought, ooh, I just better not take a chance on my channel on that. But I loved reading all of those things to you guys. That was fun.
Oh my gosh, I would love it if Katie was my Alexa.
Oh, that would be fun.
Or like your directional person to turn
Yes.
left. I would love that.
All my directional guys are British because, you know,
Yeah.
they have to be British.
They're regal. They're regal.
Yes.
I would pay for that Katie subscription for my Alexa voice change thing if that was a thing.
I wonder if you can submit your voice to places like that. Like, how do you get on?
Oh, I wouldn't mind. That's actually a really fun idea.
Ooh.
A Christmas book reading. We did that one year.
We did the night before Christmas.
Yeah, and I know that a Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol is not there are no royalty. It's royalty free. So if you were putting on a play, you don't have to pay any of the royalties.
That makes sense. That's why so many colleges do it.
Yeah.
I agree, George, with his accent.
Cratchit.
Fantastic.
I could redo my role as Mrs. Cratchit. David Michael could be the ghost of Christmas past. Or future, because then you could be the Grim Reaper.
Death. Well, I guess it's fitting with my image here at the Cult.Of.Vintage.
And you've got your black hat, so you're already part of it.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah. I get to carry around what is that thing that he carries? His scythe.
You don't even have to say anything. You just.
Well, that's boring.
You point.
Well, on that note, you guys, we are now getting to our 10 o'clock hour. I want to thank everybody before we do wrap it up. Dibs on Scrooge. I don't know. I feel like that role's probably already spoken for, Jay. I feel like that's not I do want to thank everybody for coming. Of course, again, we're only able to do this because of everybody out there in the chat. And Vintage Rescue Squad is a great time to really come and engage in community, have fun with one another. But yet again, to all of the lurkers out there, again, we thank you so much. It is a great honor to be able to get up here on camera and to be your background noise or a source of entertainment. Maybe we put you to sleep tonight, and that's okay too. We appreciate that also. Before we do conclude tonight's Vintage Rescue Squad, Katie, what have you got coming up for us, lady? When can we see you next?
Fabulous, Michael. Well, it's been an honor being on tonight. Thank you all for all your wonderful comments in the chat. It's been fun reading them. I'll definitely go back and read some more. But my next sale is actually coming up this Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern. I'm having a joint brooch sale with Soulmate, who's down in the chats. He's our New Zealand friend. He shipped some brooches to me that he has hand curated, and I've picked some brooches from the World's Longest Yard Sale. And we are going to do a jewelry sale. So come by and hang out. That will be lots of fun. And then I'm going to have some more content from the yard sale coming out this week. More of my shopping trip with Ariana, which is going to be fun.
Yay.
Awesome. Miss Cyndi, when can we see you next, lady?
Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on my channel. I'll do my a live sale. And I do have content coming out tomorrow morning. It's an antique store. I did a shop along there in a haul, so that's coming out tomorrow. And yeah, so that's what's coming up.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to that. Misty Pate, sister, go ahead.
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern on my second channel, Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter Live. Michael, you didn't say it with me. You're supposed to say it. Michael and I are having a sale, and I'm bringing all Halloween and Halloween able things that you can use in your decor. I'm probably going to be selling Halloween for the remainder of the month. And not just like witches and ghosts, but like Halloween glassware, like the coloring, the colorways and stuff that will do.
Inspired by.
George said it with me. And then Wednesday at 10 a.m., I'm having a whatnot sale. It's going to be all smalls, all little teeny tinies. And it's going to be buyer's choice. So I'm just going to be pulling things out of a box. Some of the stuff has not seen the light of day in probably 20 years, but I don't even know what's in it. We're going to pull it out and set it out, and it's going to be buyer's choice. And then Wednesday at 1 o'clock on my Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter, Daniel, Tacky is me, is going to be having. He showed me today, he has paper dolls that you can take their faces off and put new faces on them.
Ooh, love.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. So that's
going to be,
that's going to be Wednesday at 1. That's it. And then Michael?
And yeah, so tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter Live. I think we should do the live.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
But I am this Friday on The.Cult.Of.Vintage. I will be having another holiday themed sale, and it's going to be another big one. But it's going to be Christmas this Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's right, for the West Coaster. Ho, ho, ho. Be there with your jingle bells on. You know what I'm saying?
So, Michael, are you going to be doing live sales every Friday?
I think so. Well, I didn't really want to kind of announce it because then the Friday after that, we're going to be in Ohio. So I'm like, I'm going to do a sale every Friday except for next week. So, you know.
Right.
So, yes. I do plan on starting to do sales every Friday at 1 p.m. So I'm looking forward to that. And I kind of want to change them up. I do want them to be some kind of themed. I already have a theme planned for after Ohio. Just buckle up. So you're going to want to be sitting down for that one.
You will want to be sitting down for that one.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Thank you all again so much.
Michael, what? Patty Girl. Reminded you.
I'm on Vintage Gents this week. Yes, thank you very much. That is going to be Wednesday night, and that is on Jason's channel, Mother Tucker's Antiques. I know that I had to take photos and everything already. So yes, don't forget that also. You guys, thank you. Thank you so much for reminding me. What's up?
Well, Monday nights, Vintage Rescue Squad is going to be a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
Next Monday night, we will be on my channel, but we will not be having a talk. We will be having a sale. Because we won't be having a sale on Tuesday because we have a trip. So we're going to sell on Sunday or Monday night. And it's going to be a condensed sale, I think. Michael?
Sunday, Monday. Yeah, because that way we don't keep everybody here till,
Yeah.
knowing us, 1 o'clock in the morning. So
So that's going to be next Monday night. It's going to be an evening sale with Michael.
Yes. All right, guys, that is it. Don't forget, down in the description, I know it's an accident that maybe you're not subscribed or maybe you're not following somebody. It's okay. We're all human. We all make mistakes. I made it super easy for you in the description. You're going to find everybody's links. I made it as easy as possible for you. So, everybody's name, the title, little arrows, like it's super cute. It's just an easy way to, again, show a lot of support to some really hardworking people. You guys, we appreciate you. Thank you for being here with us once again. We hope that you all have a wonderful evening. Katie, Cyndi, thank you, ladies, both for agreeing to be back on with us. It's always a pleasure, truly. And you guys, y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye, friends.
Bye, guys.